the life force of your bond. A power like life itself, unseen for generations. A dyad in the force.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Dyad in the Force, episode 159, the one where hopefully Straw Hat does Star Wars. That's right, we have a guest on this episode who just showed up. So, let's add them to the scene and get them in. Hello, hello!
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Hey, how's it going, man? It's been a minute.
It feels like it's been months, like years, multiple years. It's been a good while.
I mean, last time we went live on a podcast together, that was for a WandaVision. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh wow, that was like 2020 to 2021, right?
yeah.
A long time ago.
I don't like a long time ago in a galaxy not so far away.
Hey, but that was like an epic episode. It was me,
What?
you, Rayburn, and Jay Stoobs.
Yeah. It was good time. Good time.
I gotta figure out why you're not on the TikTok side.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
This is a swanky website. I like it. It looks nice. What?
Lots and lots of custom stuff in here. Speaking of swanky, man, no, your podcast has been killing it. Been seeing like guest lists and stuff, and like,
Yeah, no, man. I'm still surprised people were saying yes to coming on. But it's
That's
been
cool.
cool. It's been cool.
All right, while I figure this out, Juju, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience? Let them know where they can find you if they need to, if they don't already.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure nobody in here knows who I am, so that's the assumption I like to go into this with. But what's up, guys? I'm Juju Green, aka Strawhatgoofy. I would love to be your movie guy. I make content based around films. I do reviews and breakdowns and deep dives, and I do celebrity cast, director, just movie interviews on red carpets, as well as my podcast, Get Wrecked with Strawhatgoofy. So if you want some movie content, you want some movie recommendations from myself or my friends, you can follow Strawhatgoofy everywhere on every social platform, and Get Wrecked podcast on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you find or listen to your podcast at. Yeah, I think that was a good intro. I think I did good.
yeah, fantastic. No, it's cool. It's happy to have you on. Have you talking some Star Wars with people. Plus, we're fans of multiple things as well. So yeah, while Pep is getting everything all situated, I gotta ask because I haven't jumped into it yet. Right before we started, we had people talking about Madam Web. And Madam Web, it was one of those things where I was like, you know what, it's a female-led thing, so there are going to be people just who are going to hate the hate. And then I've been seeing, it's like, oh, I don't expect that from you.
Yeah. It's one of those things where the movie is just terrible all on its own, all by itself. and it's hilarious because you want to give it the proper critique that it deserves, while at the same time saying this is in no way affiliation with misogynist assholes who like it strictly because there are women in it. I swear, it's not me.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, where am I getting this echo? Suddenly.
Huh, that's weird because I wasn't getting any echo before whatever you just did.
I'm not hearing an echo.
Oh, it's probably. Hold on.
Interesting. I hear myself twice. I hear Pep twice. I don't hear Juju twice.
Oh wow. Am I better than you guys? I'm joking. Could that be just because I'm better than everyone else?
I actually think we might be getting play from Juju.
Really?
Yeah, because if I talk, I see it.
Oh no.
I see the levels on your view coming up.
Is it on my side? Should I turn something off or turn it on?
You have let's see. Roadcaster Pro 2 chat.
Darth Veritas says, I need to see Madam Web. I've heard it's hilarious. Unironically.
Can you try saying something now? Oh wow.
Something now. If I'm gonna go mute and see if you guys are still hearing something. I'm hitting mute right now.
Hello.
All right. Yeah, yep, there's no echo.
No echo?
Now I hear the music choice.
Oh wow, hold on. Could it be because of my roadcaster? Let's see. This is weird that it's all coming from my side then. 1 second. Maybe.
What's up, Amber? How you doing?
Let's see.
Okay, so I just saw Frankie's video talking about the showrunner for X-Men 97. You seen that, dude?
I didn't see Frankie's video yet. But hold on. Can you guys still hear me?
I can hear you.
Do you still hear like an echo or something like that?
Hello. I hear an echo, but it sounds like it's coming from... Well, not anymore.
No echo?
No echo.
Oh, well. I didn't do a thing.
Okay.
Did it fix itself?
Cool. I guess so.
Darwizzy says, Draymond Green, is that you?
That is racist. Yeah, no, you know what? Let's just ride this. Let's say you guys got Draymond Green. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Draymond Green from the Draymond Green Show, a member of the Golden State Warriors.
I like to do violent stuff all the time.
I like to punch people in the face that do and don't deserve it.
All right, so before we ran into that technical difficulty, going back to what Juju just said, this is part of the reason why we do what we do in the Star Wars community. And we're gonna hit you with the Star Wars stuff, don't worry.
I don't mind it.
A lot of the negativity, a lot of the noise that's out there from misogynists and the people who are anti-woke makes it hard for people to have actual literal legitimate concerns and criticisms of movies.
Right.
It's like you don't want to get caught up in that crowd just by virtue of having the same perspective, but also
yeah, we got to be able to critique the stuff that we love,
I mean, like, my job is literally made of critiques, and I feel like it's getting harder and harder, not just because of raging misogynists and racists, but you say something good about something, they say you're getting paid to do it. You say something bad about something, and you don't know shit about it, and it's just kind of like, well, you can't win either way. It's just hard to critique anything, and then there's no room for like nuance either, right? Like in the case of Madam Web, I have legitimate critiques, and I usually try to find something good to say about complete utter pieces of dog shit. It was hard with Madam Web. It was very, very hard. I think I was only able to find like one thing to say, and people were like, oh well, of course it's women are in it, that's why you can't find nothing good to say. It's like, well, shit, like it's not true, but whatever.
I haven't seen it, but one good thing I can say is that the red carpet looked lit. I mean, like everyone showed up.
You wanna know something?
For sure.
You wanna know something? I will say the red carpet was pretty lit. I'm not gonna lie. It was so funny because every person that like I stopped on the red carpet to talk to, and this was like off the record type stuff. It wasn't like interview. They would say, "Have you seen the movie yet?" No, but I have heard some things, and these are to people who have seen the movie, and they would just go. And I was like, well, so I was already kind of fully prepared for a piece of dog shit while still having like an open mind, because I made a whole video of just like, hey guys, what are we expecting out of this, right? Like, it's not going to be Infinity War. It's not even going to be Winter Soldier. Hell, it's not even going to be X-Men from the 2000s. Let's just accept it for what it is. So I went into that fully with that mindset and still got massively disappointed.
Yeah.
So,
Dang.
I keep on saying this is kind of like Sony's way of keeping the IP. You know, they've lent out Spider-Man, and they have Into the Spider-Verse, but like these like Craven, Madam Web, like all this stuff is just them kind of like hitting the quota. It's like we need to keep the IP so that we can make money with the MCU. You know.
But do they need to do that? Because like, one, you just had No Way Home like 3 years ago? You just had No Way Home, right? A banger. It's still your movie. And then 2, you got Spider-Verse. You got a new Spider-Verse in production right now.
Right?
Do you have to do Madam Web? Of all characters, do you have to do Madam Web? Like,
I say no.
So
I don't know anything about her.
You know what though? I don't know. I don't dislike the idea of being like, you know what, we're gonna do Madam Web, because I like the concept of like, we're gonna go with, no one cares about these characters right now.
yeah.
That gives us room to play around, right? No one's coming into this, you know, like if you touch Superman or Batman, people have an idea of it has to be this, must be this.
Mm-hmm.
No one has that idea of Madam Web. But I think she was also too far off the beaten path where it becomes why.
Yeah.
It's like Iron Man. No one cared. Comic fans cared about Iron Man, but like the general public didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sony had the ability to purchase they tried to sell him all of Marvel's characters, and the CEO is like, who the hell cares about any of these people? Like, everyone's Spider-Man.
Who gives a damn about Thor and Captain America?
It was going to be like an extra million for everyone, and they were like, no.
Well, Connor in the chat says, I really enjoy Madam Web. It is not perfect. However, the movie flows really well. The characters are pretty enjoyable. It's camp, which I like. And all I can say is things are getting good. I mean, you know.
Hey. I'm not going to disagree with you, Connor. Actually, let me not say that. I am going to disagree with you, Connor. But I am also going to say you're entitled to your opinion, man. You're like that right there is super valid. Like, I always say that there's a movie out there for someone, and I just know that somewhere out there is a theater with one person who is on their 3rd rewatch of Madam Web right now, and they're enjoying the hell out of this movie. Their favorite part is when Madam Web is astral projecting like Doctor Strange, despite not having any precedent for any type of power within the movie or the comic books or things like that. And he sounds just like a good friend of mine. His name is Scott Mans. And I saw him on the carpet, and we were talking about, you know, the movie, and he said it with the utmost sincerity. I like Madam Web. I think it was fine. I thought it was fine. I think it did this. I think it did that. And I'm like, hey, cool. And then I watched it myself and said, Scott's an idiot. Not necessarily, not necessarily that, but like I couldn't find anything worthwhile while watching that movie. Between the story, between the explanation of certain characters, motivations, so many lines that made me go, not only did we keep this in, it was written. It came out of someone's mind. It was written down, and someone said, yes, we're gonna have an American Idol joke. We're gonna have Family Guy cutaways. We're gonna do it all.
Dang.
But,
I mean, I'm sold on him now. No, I'm playing. I guess. Okay, so where do you draw the line between this and like, because for me, unpopular opinion, but like the movie Morbius to me falls into the same category as like the underworld movies from the early 2000s, where it's like it's insane. I don't know what's happening, but like you just shovel popcorn and then you're like, huh, you know what I mean? Like, you know. Also, the first Fantastic Four movie, people talk about how crappy it is. I think it's a lot better than people give it credit for. I can get some hate. Doctor Doom is my favorite Marvel character. They did him dirty in that, but the outfit was fire. It was an amazing costume. I'm curious where you kind of draw the line between like, is it bad? Is it campy bad? Is it not? Okay. Is it made for a different audience? Not a different audience, but made to be a trash film. Sharknado was not meant, you know.
I think I can answer that question pretty easily. I think where you draw the line is that, does this movie take itself too seriously? Does it take itself seriously, or does it not take itself seriously? And when I look at movies like camp, and I'm glad that you brought that word up, Lisa Frankenstein is camp. Like, it was completely made, not like made to be like a trashy film that you watch and make fun of, but it's a little over the top. The performances are very like tongue in cheek. It's a movie that doesn't take itself too seriously. Madam Web takes itself 100% serious, 100%. Like, from its villain to its characters to its so-called like heartfelt moments. Like, you could tell when Dakota Johnson screams at her mother's ear in the past while watching her mom be pregnant with herself, and she says, "Why do you hate me so much?" You could tell that wasn't a tongue-in-cheek thing. That there was an attempt to draw emotion from the audience, and it just fell flat, right? And describing it to be like, you could put it on par with like movies like Morbius, but I think putting a movie like Morbius in the same tier as like Underworld, it's pretty fair. It's pretty fair. However, the Underworld films doesn't have a performance like Matt Smith, where you could tell Matt Smith did not give a shit. Right. And he's like, if I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna fucking dance. I'm gonna dance with my fucking like Thriller face and like fight Jared Leto, who in and of itself is already like, he's reached this point in his career where, I don't know, he just says, I want to be a full character actor, where he does things like Joker over the top. He does things like he just did something right before Morbius. Fucking House of Gucci, where he's like, I'm just gonna overplay and camp up everything. Madam Web doesn't have that. Madam Web doesn't have a character that seems like it could have been a great character in a fun Saturday morning cartoon, you know? And that's where camp just doesn't really apply to this kind of like conversation on Madam Web. It's a movie that tries to be too serious. And it has humor, but that's like every Marvel movie has humor. So it really feels like a paint by the numbers, trying to imitate what they think people like, when in reality, it's just no one was on the same page when it came to making this movie. And it's unintentionally bad. There's intentionally bad and unintentionally bad. I guess that's the long way of saying that, you know?
Okay.
Very interesting. And just like with Star Wars, our community is very, very known for having civil discourse. And Connor, it's okay if you like the movie. I have my beef with Juju about hackers.
That's fuck hackers. I'm sorry.
Listen, hack the planet, bro.
Hack the world, hack the planet, hack the world.
It's one of my guilty pleasures. Like back then, I was huge into like tech and just like hearing them talk about, RISC architecture and 28.8 BPS modems. And I was like, yeah, this is cool. This is cool. Does it age well? No, but I still like it. I still like to watch it every once in a while. Same with Mortal Kombat.
I love Mortal
Kombat.
I love Mortal Kombat. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But we have these kind of like
dragon fights.
We have these, guilty pleasures that we have. I'm sure there is a movie in the Juju library that you think so highly of that would probably be, on the bottom of a lot of people's lists.
Every Step Up movie ever made. The Step Ups are the shit. Shout out to Moose.
Moose is good. Moose is great.
Shout out to the like very terribly like continuity the rain dance that everybody loves so much. Where they're dancing in the rain. That shit has so many continuity errors. It's ridiculous. It'll make your head spin.
It's a great track though.
It's a great fucking track. I think that's what everyone's like thinking of. But at the end of the day, it's like they're switching clothes mid dance move throughout the entire final battle. And this is your final battle. It's like the fact that nobody notices it like blows my mind. But it's the best. I fucks with it. So heavy.
What about you, Choco?
Well, for what you said about hackers, I'm gonna say this: the greatest hacker of all time is Richard Pryor in Superman 3.
Oh
I don't know if
gosh.
you've seen it.
Oh gosh.
He hacked a street walk sign so that the guy climbed out and fought. I don't even know. He was a reality warper. Is truly what it is.
Yeah. He's Mr. Mixopidalic, right? Like,
Yeah.
Basically, Richard Pryor is a Superman antagonist. Never forget.
For me, like the terrible movie that you just love to watch. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not really terrible, but my heart goes straight to the Fast and Furious franchise. I quote all of them so much.
Yes.
From 1 through. I still haven't seen the latest one. I don't know that I'm strong enough to, but
You'll be fine.
Okay.
It's coming.
All the way from the first one, just like where they had that cheesy song, watch your back. You're like, who wrote this? Yeah, Menage. Like what the hell's going on with this?
That was a really good Ja Rule. That was really good.
Yeah,
Let's
all
not
of
speed
them.
past that. That was a really fucking good Ja Rule.
But specifically, Too Fast, Too Furious, to me, best film in the franchise.
Thank you. That's my favorite Fast and Furious movie. I don't care what nobody says. Ejectocito, cuz. I still say that to this day.
We hungry.
Hey, we ain't hungry no more.
I have a special place in my heart for Tokyo Drift.
Oh, Tokyo Drift. Look, people say that like Fast and Furious 5 is where like that franchise started to like take a left turn, and for all intents and purposes, it is. But I would make there's a strong argument to be had over Tokyo Drift is where that whole franchise like went nuts, because one, it was directed by Justin Lin, who directed a lot of the Fast and Furious movies. That was like the directions that they started to take. And then two, like they introduced the concept of like drifting to the world. Like nobody knew what the fuck drift was. Even if you played Mario Kart, you didn't know what to call it when you would drift from side to side.
Power slide.
It was a power slide. You know what I'm saying?
I've been watching Initial D for a minute, but I get you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, when I would play Mario Kart, like every time I would do a power slide now, you have to sing the Tokyo Drift theme song. I wonder if you know, if you in it, Tokyo. And I don't know if it's racist to sing that song out loud because you have to do a fucking
I had never even approached the singing. I just went dun, 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 dun.
That beat goes hard as soon as it kicks in.
Yeah.
Bing, 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 boo, doo, doo, doo.
Oh,
Movie
man.
goes hard.
Talk about Fast and Furious.
Summertime in my chat says Torque was streets ahead of Fast and Furious on release.
Streets ahead.
First of all,
Got it.
streets ahead. And Torque just gave me, because at the end, it's almost like they have a sword fight with motorcycles. It's insane. I don't know if you've seen that.
I forgot Torque even existed. Wow. I mean, let's shout out to like the time period where movies really tried to like really imitate like Fast and Furious. There was Fast and Furious, Torque, I think it was Biker Boys, was a thing as well.
Biker Boys.
Yeah. And then it was like, I think it was one called Rollerblade or Roller something. And it was just a whole culture around like, hey, automotive, high stakes, late night LA racing, baby.
Yeah, and you had a bunch of video games come in as well, and all of them, you had the same Mexican dude named Hector, and he was like the guy you see about Honda Civics.
I mean, even Twisted Metal with Anthony Mackie has a freaking WRX in it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Fuck. Like, have you guys watched that latest Twisted Metal, the Twisted Metal show?
Yeah.
No. How was it?
It's actually pretty good.
Not watch it. Is it good?
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. Like, Anthony Mackie saves any show that he's in.
Wasn't Rosario Dawson in it as well? It's like
No.
Anthony Mackie, Rosario Dawson. Who is it?
I forget who else. I forget the actress that is like the supporting role.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up right now.
But Anthony Mackie is just brilliant in that show, and like the way that they incorporate the video game like nuances, like the character work, and like the people that come in as like, oh my gosh, that's the driver from Twisted Metal Black, or that's the driver from 3. It's like,
okay,
it's not a single continuity of a Twisted Metal story, but you'll recognize villains that are supposed to be villains and some drivers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Twisted Metal had a story.
Oh, there it is.
I knew there was a story. I never followed it. All I know is Twisty the Clown. That's it. That's all I know. he's so iconic. I'm like, I know that guy.
Okay. Yes, Veritas. Veritas says Hector's going to be running 3 Honda Civics with spoon engines.
He's got 200K in that engine.
You guys ever like watch those clips of Pimp My Ride like today and just get like so confused because like somebody like pulled like a whole real clip from that show and they say just keep your eyes on Exhibit while like what's his name explains what's in the car, and Exhibit is either 1 super high or 2 just not giving a fuck, and he's just like, whoa, for real? That's crazy.
I love because like I don't know how real it is, but there's been people who've made videos or people, conversations on Reddit like with previous owners who talk about being on these things that we grew up with, and they're like, all he didn't even say anything. He just ate Cheetos the whole time.
Makes sense.
And like we would see. Even now, you can find like those cars to sell. They said that they would take a lot of the stuff out of the cars when they were done, like screens and stuff.
Yeah.
But everything else was left. But they also never touched any mechanical stuff in the car. So when the people
the car
like,
still shit and can't run, but at least they got like a waterbed in the back seat.
But the show was always like, my car's always breaking down and it's hard to get places, and they're like, you know what? What if instead of a trunk, you just had a bunch of plastic
table?
You had a turntable with a tanning bed inside.
It's still got that 1995 engine though. Okay.
No,
thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. Oh my god, we turned your whole door into a cell phone.
He opens it to, hey, hello.
You literally gotta put your face to the door. Hey, yo, mama, I'm opening my ride.
You like cell phones? Well, now your cell phone
is a cell phone.
No, your cell phone is a cell phone inside the cell phone. You can have 2 calls at once instead of I don't know, 3-way.
One of the ones I found most interesting though was the kids who had been on Legend of the Hidden Temple, because I loved that show on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
And they were like, that first game in the pool, like they had us swimming for like hours and it was cold. And like, so at the end, when everyone was terrible at running through the maze, they were like, we were exhausted and dehydrated, and they've been asking us questions, and like, That's why we couldn't do anything. It was hours. It was like
It sounds like torture.
that makes sense.
Because I always used to wonder, like, whenever they would get to the last bit was always like, assemble the fucking monkey, just assemble the temple monkey, and it was only 3 pieces.
It was 3 pieces to assemble, and they couldn't do it.
And I've seen children more than likely get bullied to oblivion after that was over at school because they couldn't put those 3 goddamn pieces together because they get there first, but it takes them 2 minutes to put it together, and then the person comes back and just wins, and it's like, come on. Now I know it's because of dehydration and no food.
And torture.
And
Straight torture. Yeah.
Kenny says, you guys know you're showing your age, me and Pep, for sure. I mean, I don't mind, you know.
I don't mind showing my age at all. Well, we can get deeper.
Blue Barracudas for life, bro.
We can get deeper into showing our age, huh? You ever watch Pepper Ann? Huh?
Oh.
You ever watch Pepper Ann?
Pepper Ann. You know what? I was actually a Nickelodeon kid, so we didn't cross over into the Disney that much, except for the Disney original movies. Like Brink. That was my thing. Brink Johnny
was the
Tsunami.
shit. Brink was the shit.
Here's the
thing. Holds up.
Did you watch Reboot?
I did watch Reboot for a little bit. Not enough to be like a super fan of it, but when people mention it, I'm like, oh shit, that was a thing. That was a thing. And that was like part of like this weird thing that TV shows were trying at the time where they were just getting used to CG animation. So it looked very ugly, but like since it was new to us, we thought it was incredible. So like Jimmy Neutron was the epitome of that style of animation. This is like where they cracked it. Yeah. But then you had Reboot, and then you also had Butt Ugly Martians, if anybody remembers that shit.
Oh, I do remember that.
That was a Nickelodeon show that should not have existed, like, at all. And that was during that whole, that was what we're doing time.
That's like alongside Bump in the Night. I don't know if y'all remember Mr. Bumpy.
I don't remember Bump in the Night, no.
That was, nightmare fuel for sure. No, speaking of going old school, we had a trailer drop the other day of X-Men 97.
Let's go. Yes.
I mean, I grew up on that. Like that and Spider-Man were like it's why I'm more of a Marvel kid than a DC kid to this day.
Yep.
Yeah, what'd you think of the trailer? What'd you think of the Gambit Wolverine combo move?
First off, I saw like a big sneak peek of that.
Is it too woke for you now?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think we should keep politics out of X-Men. Like X-Men were just about these kids with powers who had a great life. Like dumbasses.
They just wanted to go to the playground.
Yeah, they just were just going to school trying to get an education. Okay. Like, have you tried not being a mutant? Iceman came out the closet literally twice in his 60-year history.
He also got outed by Family Guy, but that's a whole
when Family Guy is outing you, then you know, like, hey, come on. But like I saw the X-Men 97 trailer, or it wasn't that exact trailer, but I saw a trailer during the I went to a premiere for What If Season 2. And they like showed a lot of stuff for like their Marvel animation stuff. So they showed us like Spider-Man First Days or whatever they're calling it, First Class or whatever the fuck. And then they also showed the Wakandan show, the Black Panther show. I think it was called Warriors of Wakanda. I can't remember what it's called. But they showed X-Men. It was like a heavy X-Men thing. And I was already like in love with like the style of animation. It looks very like Archer while also like having like this hint of anime like sprinkled in there. But still, it looks super familiar to the animation that we knew from the 90s. Like, it doesn't look like we lost anything there. And there was a bunch of things that I really fell in love with. Like, one, the Gambit Wolverine combo move, which I'm like, is that new? Like, I've never seen that in the comics. I've never seen that in anything ever. And I'm like, I would love to see some shit like that. That would be absolutely great.
You think that's a hint to, like, the flame claws?
The fucking kinetic claws. That's what I'm calling them. I'm calling it the KK. No,
the Kathleen Kennedy.
The Kathleen Kennedy. That's what we're calling that move. We called it the KK Kathleen Kennedy. You know, and like Nikhil made a video about.
I saw his
that, and I was like, oh, there's a reason why we haven't seen that. But the good thing about cartoons is that we can suspend our disbelief for the sake of it being cool, and I don't care if it doesn't like work like scientifically Give me fucking Gambit riding on the back of Wolverine while Wolverine has these glowing fucking like pink claws coming at you. That shit was fucking awesome. I dug that.
Okay, for me, like the reason. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say simply straight up. That's just not how Gambit's powers work.
Yeah.
So Gambit has always been able to like charge his staff and hit people really hard with it. You know what I mean? Like it just has extra kinetic energy when he does it. I remember they were like locked in prison in oh my goodness, in wherever they were. And he charged the bars, which made them more pliable to get out. He didn't blow them up, but I'm curious what the claws in that situation are gonna do, because do they cut better? I don't know. Do they need to cut better?
I think it's like he charges his cards, right? And the cards like become like bombs, right? That's what I've always thought.
Yeah, so he charges them with energy, but he overcharges them and then they will explode. But you can charge them without overcharging them, you know?
Well, also the fact that like when he's charging them with their potential energy.
Yeah.
And
I'm not a scientist. I don't know what the fuck that means. But
I mean he uses potential energy to charge objects with the energy that they would have if they had, gone through the kinetics to achieve that energy. And the only reason the cards explode is because the cards cannot withstand that potential energy. When he throws nuts and bolts, they explode on impact, but they don't. But the nuts and bolts don't then disintegrate, like they just fall to the ground. So, in charging the claws, there's going to be an explosive impact because of that kinetic energy, but adamantium is virtually indestructible. It's not going to like blow up.
Yeah. So I'm looking up like Gambit's powers right now, and I'm seeing molecular acceleration, which that's enhancement. So I guess in this case, like supercharging the energy, both convert it and accelerate it to get more of a bang out of even the smallest objects. That's giving them a greater, and I'm not going to click the link because my internet is not the best. But then we also have, and I really hope that this is the case in this moment, hypnotic charm. Maybe Gambit is adding some hypnotic charm to Wolverine's claws.
He's having some Riz. He's charging it with Riz.
Guy gets slashed up. It's like, man, that was beautiful. Oh,
okay, so you know what's going to happen, right? With the 2 charge claws, I think we got to the bottom of it. He's going to double stab someone, and then that person's going to explode.
The
energy has to go somewhere.
That's awesome. Like it seems a bit redundant because you've already stabbed them, but to make them explode after the fact.
It's the double tap.
Jesus.
It's the double tap.
You got to make sure, man.
Jesus Christ.
The black flash.
It's
double tap black flash.
God, it's like it just eliminates the whole like, would you rather get stabbed or would you rather get exploded? And it's like both.
Yes. The answer is yes.
1-2. But that looks hard.
Now I just need a scene where Wolverine stabs them and goes "Coxen," and then they explode.
I'm already waiting for the Bakugo edits to happen. Like that's what I'm waiting for. Wolverine with Bakugo's voice actor. But I also brought up like during that trailer, like they're really leaning heavy on Jean Grey being pregnant, which in like the X-Men storyline when Jean Grey gets pregnant, she's really not pregnant. It's Madeline Pryor who's a clone of Jean Grey, and that's how Cable is born, right? And so like
you got Mr. Sinister that back, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so like I'm wondering, since they've already kind of done the Dark Phoenix storyline within the X-Men 90s TV series, and this is a continuation of that, if now they're going directly into like the birth of Cable, because we met Cable in that show already, but just kind of like, oh, big reveal at the end of this season of 97. And we saw Bishop, right? Well. Yeah, so it's like at the end of this season, maybe we reveal that, oh shit, Jean Grey's not actually Jean Grey at all. It's Madeline Pryor. And then we get the ultimate Dick Scott Summer move. He finds out Jean Grey is alive and ditches Madeline Pryor and his child in order to go be with Jean, and just never mentions them again.
Yeah, I feel like I wish I could edit in the from the original X-Men movie of like, how do I know it's real you? You're a dick.
Okay.
That's how I feel about him in general.
The fact that he agreed with it, like, yep. Speaking of which,
if they go that route, does that mean that X-Men ended in the exact same place as the '90s Spider-Man cartoon?
Probably. I would say that for sure.
Because Mary Jane disappeared, came back as a clone, and then like washed away in the river.
Hey, that would be a bomb-ass crossover and a great reintroduction to the '90s Spider-Man cartoon, where we're dealing with clones, baby. Like, we're just gonna have a clone-filled episode.
Love it.
But funny enough, like I'm getting served a lot of Fantastic Four movie like clips on YouTube. And, I'm watching it, and like I actually like the Fantastic Four movies. Like, they're not the best, but like they still have some charm to them. They still have the cool family element. Like, there's things to like in those movies. And it gave me the scene where Sue is like walking down the streets and she sees like their faces on People magazine. And when you look at the magazine, not only does it show Jessica Alba as the Invisible Woman's face, and it has this headline like, "Oh my God, like, is she still with Victor Von Doom?" Yada yada yada. But you literally see a photo of James Marsden and Rebecca Romaine, and it literally says James Marsden eyeing his next superhero role, and I'm like, oh, eyeing, like Cyclops got it. And then it literally says Rebecca. It says the mystique of Rebecca Romaine.
That's hilarious.
In a Fantastic Four movie, which is like hilarious.
Yeah, they're not even trying to hide it.
Not at all.
So I have a couple of questions. I have a couple of questions for you, because I would like to your opinion. Have you seen Reacher?
You talk about the new Prime Video show, right?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
Dang. Do you know who Alan Richardson is, though? The person who plays Reacher?
I love Alan Richardson. He's the guy who got killed by PETA and in a Catching Fire. I remember him very well.
Now, imagine
that
him.
Man. I'm picturing him now. That man ain't getting killed by PETA. I don't care what.
Imagine.
Honestly, he might have been killed by Finnick, but like, he's there. He's there. He never says a word.
Imagine him as Cyclops.
Okay, I could see it. I could see it from his neck up. I can see it from the neck up, and I say that because that dude is too fucking buff. And I know that, like,
I keep on running into people who think that, though.
Yeah,
but if you go back to the original Uncanny X-Men, he is a unit. Cyclops is a unit.
Cyclops is a unit. I get it. He's a unit. But when Cyclops is standing next to Colossus, you're like, okay, like, he's not Colossus. And Alan Richardson is a Colossus type unit, right?
But
like,
if we're going with the Deadpool Colossus, he is not that unit.
I'll put him with the fucking Colossus that we got in the X-Men movies, right? Like, it's like,
I think the Colossus we got in the X-Men movies was more of a Cyclops than Marsden.
You can make that argument, but even then, Alan Richardson is bigger than that motherfucker.
I'm just trying to put some respect on the name Scott Summers, because like having Marsden play him, having what's that dude's name?
I love Marsden.
I like him.
I like Marsden too, but like having Wolverine taller than him and more buff than him was
okay. That's a whole different topic. That's the Wolverine.
That's a whole. I mean, Wolverine was supposed to be Bob Hoskins, like a little short, like hairy-chested man, but I would probably say my fan cast for Cyclops right now, and he could desperately use this because the last superhero movie he was in didn't do too well. Patrick Wilson, who played Orm in the Aquaman movie, that's Cyclops to me. He has the Cyclops body. He's got the Cyclops body. He has like the kind of like upright zeal, while also having that edge of like going full like radical if they want to take it that far. So Patrick Will, and plus he's like not too old to play the role. Dude still looks really fucking good. He could do the physicality, but for the most part, he'll just have to do this. So I can see Patrick Wilson like being Cyclops. Alan Richardson, I want him as Colossus. Now that I think about it,
I haven't. I laughed so hard during Aquaman 2 at his scenes because he does a good job and he's a good actor.
Yeah.
And it was like certain parts he didn't know what movie he was in. And so he would just straight face say the most serious thing ever and then dive off of a whale. And
Yes.
like,
Yes.
And I would just laugh hysterically. My wife is next to me like, "Are you okay?"
There's the camp that I'm looking for. That's the camp that I'm looking for, right? Give me the fucking Patrick Wilson saying a badass line before jumping off a fucking whale, and there's a fucking like an octopus drumming with like 8 arms, just like give me that shit, right? But that's my Cyclops. Although I do love Alan Richardson. I love Alan Richardson. I thought he was one of the best parts of Fast and Furious X. Like he's one of like the new characters that I was really like fucking with.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
now one thing I will say about Marston the original is he's one of the few people that could still be doing it. It's been 20 years.
Yeah,
that man looks exactly the same.
He could still fucking do it. I mean, dude's like doing it in fucking Sonic the Hedgehog. Like like he's getting out, he's getting around. So I'm like, bring him back, man. Honestly, I really hope he comes back in Deadpool 3. I really hope he comes back in Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, I really do. Like, give him a fight. Give him the send-off that he deserves. Don't have him fucking kissing Jean Grey and then gets off-screened. Like, with no body to even find. It's just... Yeah. I wonder what it was like. I wonder what it was like filming that scene for him. Right? Like, you come into work, you got 2 scenes to get through. You getting on your motorcycle and, like, crying to Logan, and then you kiss... Pumpkin Jensen, and that's it. That's your X-Men career. That was all.
Hey, he did Superman Returns.
He did. He got cucked in Superman Returns in a way. In a little bit.
He was always
if you're gonna
to
get cucked, then it's Superman.
It's Superman.
You can't not get cucked by Superman. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's true.
Well,
Superman does that unintentionally, but you will get cucked.
All right. I mean, thinking now about Brandon Routh and how I can never trust him because I watched Chuck before anything else, and how no one else has that experience. He seems like a good guy, and I'm always like, it's fake.
It's all fake.
Don't trust. No. So we definitely have some Star Wars things to talk about, but last week Pep shared kind of his idea, having seen the Deadpool trailer, where he thinks it's going, and I'm curious if you want to give your thoughts on that because I think it's a really cool idea.
Yeah. Go ahead. What's the idea of where you think?
So this was the second opinion that I was gonna ask you about. I think that, or let's frame it this way. Do you think there's a possibility that Kevin and the TVA we see in Deadpool and Wolverine is Mojo?
Kevin. Which one's Kevin?
From She-Hulk.
From She-Hulk. Kevin.
Kevin.
I forgot all the characters.
Robot.
Kevin. See, when you said Kevin the Fry, I was like, Kevin Feige, okay, following. But yes, the robot. The robot is... Here's the thing. Mojo, the guy who's like in charge of like all the TVs, like that fucking like the guy with the eyes and shit. That, as much as I would like that to be it, and as much game as I think Kevin Feige would be for a lot of things, I don't think he will be game to be like a legitimate, like ugly looking, like controlling overlord of like Marvel, right? Like, and plus, I think the joke with Kevin the robot is that he's a fucking like AI like contraption that is in charge of it, like kind of being like a meta commentary on like how Marvel has just kind of become more less human and more of a, you know, a factory. But although I do like the idea of like Mojo kind of like being on the outside looking into the MCU, making that Kevin Feige though, considering that he's a guy who's in charge, I'm not 100% sure on that. But I do like the idea of like the creation of the TVA and how it already exists outside of time and space, and how Deadpool for the longest time has been operating in that little pocket because he knows everything that's going on. That's just inherently what he is. Also, we should get Deadpool and She-Hulk at some point. That would be a huge disservice if they don't meet at some point here. But where I think is going, I've kind of been saying this for a while, is that they've already been teasing this, especially in like the Marvels, is that Deadpool is in his like Fox universe or whatever, and now that we know that the TVA is like pruning him or like attempting to prune him or whatever the fuck they're trying to do, I think this is what's going to not only set off Battle World, but this will be like our tried and true introduction to the incursions that was teased in Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like
and the Marvels,
and the Marvels, right? And I feel like so far Marvel hasn't had any idea what they're doing. I feel like they've been, as soon as they got Fox, they've been biding their time to get to Deadpool in order for it to be the thing that like kicks off the multiverse saga, right? And they said, we're just going to do the best that we can with what we got. Make whatever the hell you're going to make, people. Sam Raimi, I'm looking at you. Taika Waititi, I'm looking at you. Chloe Zhao, I'm looking at you. Like, do whatever the hell you want. Secret Invasion creators, I'm looking at you as well. Do whatever the hell you want. It's not going to matter. We're just going to ask that you please sprinkle an incursion here, sprinkle a little like X-Men there, say mutant right here, because when Deadpool shows up, we're throwing it all at the wall. It's no secret that a Secret Wars comic book with Doctor Doom on the cover was in this trailer literally 2 days before the announcement of the Fantastic Four characters happened. It's no secret, right? So I feel like this Deadpool and Wolverine movie, especially like naming your movie Deadpool and Wolverine with the Marvel Studios logo, officially saying this is our first X-Men movie that's gonna basically like incorporate the TVA, all these things you've been waiting for. It's all premeditated, and I hate to say this, everything before the MCU wasn't premeditated. They were just kind of saying like, hey, we can give ourselves like a gap year when it comes to the production timeline. But when Deadpool comes in, let's really like go all in on everything else.
That's why
I've
I think
actually
it's this.
been saying something. I've been saying something similar, where this phase is like, it's not even a rebuilding phase. It was more of an intermission phase where they can introduce a whole slew of characters, and then we hit that battle world. You know, because that's. I mean, what you said was kind of along the lines of what my initial thought process was. I'm picturing it's a MCU version of Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, but they are having him go around and kind of take out anyone who's capable of fighting back to prevent an incursion, and then ultimately he realizes that he's the villain responsible for the death of universes.
I love that. And
that's kind of where it goes.
It's all because of Deadpool.
Yeah, and but the thing I really want, kind of like you said, if She-Hulk was in there, and I actually had this on, even if Mojo was in there, as an outside observer into the universe, I want Deadpool to break the fourth wall, and they see it, and they like, and so only them know when each other are breaking the fourth wall and can communicate. And there's like a brief scene similar to that inside of the show Fleabag.
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like
with her and the priest, and he's like, it's brilliant in that show. I want that in the MCU.
Yeah, I don't watch Fleabag, but I saw that scene on TikTok and I was like, ooh, that makes me want to watch the show, because like, she does that, and then I'm like, ooh, I'm like, I don't know shit about the show or their relationship, but I'm like, he loves her. He knows who she is inside and out. He understands. I love this here.
Plus, he's BBC Sherlock's Moriarty, which I just love that actor.
I kind of like folded my Mojo theory into Choco's, where Mojo is kind of putting on this broadcast, and he created this kind of alternate TVA to be a catalyst for Deadpool to come in and be a part of this program, and it kind of makes a lot more sense to me to be seeing all of these variants and all of these different fan casts where it is like this guy that Mojo is just putting on a broadcast for people to look into Deadpool kills the Marvel universe. And when I watch the trailer again and I see this like this satellite dish that they unfold, I'm just like, is that like a broadcast satellite? Like, what does that have to do with anything that we have in the MCU right now?
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. Like, it reminds me of fuck, I don't know why. Like, my mind just went like super blank right now, but I just had like so many ideas of like Deadpool, like pruning, like going through like the MCU and like pruning like certain things, and I just like randomly had this thought put into my head of like Deadpool should prune like the Spider-Man spin-off universes and shit. And like
maybe that's the end goal.
Maybe that's, and I think that's like that could be the end goal right there. It's like putting Deadpool in this position to kind of like like change everything that we don't like. And with the Mojo situation, like him like putting on like a show and a broadcast, and that way it's something that feels off to us. It's very Rick and Morty like, whereas like the things we've been watching hasn't really been real this whole time. And it's like the fucking, see, I had like 20 thoughts like pop into my head at once. It's like the fucking Avatar Ember Island Players episode, where a lot of people say that the movie was not based off of the show, it was based off of that episode, which is why everything was so terrible.
Oh man.
And
okay, the greatest thing of all time would be if the movie Kraven was never real. It never came out. We got a trailer. If Deadpool prunes that universe, and then they just never bring it up again.
They just never bring it up. It's a trailer that comes, and then like the movie never releases, and then Deadpool's like, "You really thought that was like real?" Like, and that's like the big realization. Honestly, that'd be the greatest trick that a movie studio has ever played. Like, did a Aaron Taylor Johnson thing, and it doesn't even exist. I would like that.
Not only that, but after Spider-Man 2, the game, like, you're not beating that Kraven. So.
No, you're not. And like I was playing that, and was like, yeah, this Kraven's gonna suck. Like right off of that, I was like, there's no way they're getting to this level. And the fact that they had to like follow that, I'm like, no.
Yeah. So one of the edge cases of this theory also, which is a lot more of a stretch or a reach, is Cassandra Nova is actually being possessed by the actual villain, Shadow King.
I like this. And then also that will tie perfectly into like the introduction of Storm, another X-Men character in a Black Panther movie, right?
Choco did say this when we were discussing it.
Haha, see? So we're in alignment. Marvel, if we're in alignment, you guys have to be like thinking about this somehow, right? We can't be the only ones. But no, I like
and it's
that a
these
lot.
times that I wish I was a shill, because Marvel, I could take that check right now. Please.
Well, technically you're not a shill because you're coming up with the ideas, right? Like you would be a shill if like they did it and you were just kind of like co-signing for the check, like hell yeah.
Yeah, none of them know what a shill is anyways though. So.
Nobody knows what a shill is. But hey, it's cool. I've been getting like the shill thing a lot for the Avatar The Last Airbender, like my Avatar The Last Airbender review of the first episode, where I was like, I actually really like it.
Looks good.
Like, it looks good. Like I'm like, I saw the first episode, I was like, this shit is fucking dope. But I think that people can't get past their love of the original, and like they're so tied to Aang being like a goofy kid or Sokka being like sexist. But I'm like, guys, yes, Sokka is a sexist.
Night Veritas.
But it's not like the biggest part of his character. Like, he's not running around telling people to like make him a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? Like he has the one episode with the Kyoshi Warriors, and then he babies his sister Katara like in the first like episode. It's like that's pretty much it. Like he gets over it.
People are acting like that's the only character development he ever has. And
it literally, like I think it's episode 3 where they get rid. You know what? Hold up, fuck that. Like we're gonna solve this right here, right now. I'm pulling up my fucking Netflix and I'm gonna look at the goddamn like episode list, and we're gonna solving this shit right now.
I feel like a lot of people have lost the meaning of adaptation.
Absolutely, 100%.
Because
100%.
as soon as I saw this trailer, I was like, it looks so like close to the show, but I never for once had any thought in my mind being like, oh, this is definitely like 1-to-1 dialogue gonna be the same, everybody to sound the same. Like, no, there's gonna be changes.
I don't want that. So episode 4, guys, like Sokka solves his misogyny in episode 4 of the series of 3 seasons. In episode 4, his misogyny is over. Like,
yeah.
And people are like, oh, they're taking it off. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm sorry.
Somerton in my chat says the root of his sexism was based in his own insecurities with his masculinity, and that was his real arc, right? He was the only man who was left behind and who wasn't enough to be a soldier, and that's what everything was based off of.
And you want to know something? That's what they play up in the live action in the first episode. It's all about like how his dad is not there, and there's like, I'm not gonna get into spoilers, but there's a line where like Katara says, well, dad would never, and he says, well, dad's not here, I am. Like, and that explains why he's acting the way he's acting. But no, people want to see him say, oh, girls can't fight like boys can, and it's like, okay, you lost that. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Like, come on. Like, just the media literacy is like insane. And you know, just like this whole discourse is like, people are like, oh, I've heard it's terrible. It's like, you haven't seen it. like who are you hearing this from? Like, who are you hearing this from, you know? So it's really been like kind of like, and plus mind you, it's the first episode. Like, it has more than enough time to drop the ball and become a big pile of heaping shit. Like, it took Game of Thrones 10 years to do that, right? It took Secret Invasion 1 season to do that. Like, it did it. It took How I Met Your Mother just the last 2 episodes of its 10-year run to do that. Like, it has time, guys. So
I also feel like it would be way too expensive to do every single like live action 1-to-1. Like, you would have 1,000 episodes of the Netflix live action.
Yeah.
That's way too expensive. You gotta cut some stuff.
So you just got into my territory, young man. Like that One Piece shit. You just stepped into it now. Like, One Piece currently is at 1,080 episodes. So 1,080th episode.
Oh, it's a 1080?
It's a 1080. It's a 1080 piece. That's what we're calling it. It's not One Piece, it's 1080 piece. And I find it insane when people say, what should I watch first? The 1,080 episode continuing anime or the 8 episode live action on Netflix? Because I don't want to lose context. Fucking watch the Netflix series first. Watch the Netflix series first. It's 8 episodes. It condenses at least, I want to say like
24 episodes.
I don't even want to say 24 episodes of One Piece. Like, it condenses like a good like 80 episodes into 8 episodes. It's masterful and it does it in a way where, like, yes, you may lose some of your favorite moments from like the smaller episodes, but there's so many episodes that like you can forget about it and it's fine. But it takes all the big ideas and then it just condenses it to where like you understand the world, you understand the tone, you understand what's going on, and it tells a cohesive story.
Yeah.
And like, people don't get that you have to cut some stuff out that may be like unnecessary to moving the story along. In a series, you can have like a full 3 episode arc to tell this thing, but in a movie or a TV series in 1 season, you're gonna have to get that out the way in like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, you know? So I just feel like people just get too damn attached. I'm literally looking at like the fucking like One Piece like thing and figuring out like, when does Luffy fight Arlong? Yes, Luffy fights Arlong in episode. It's past. It's like approaching 100 episodes. This shit condensed all of this shit in like 100 episodes into like 8 episodes, and it did it amazingly.
In 100,
Yeah.
really?
No, it makes sense. Like I find that One Piece is like 1,000 shows in one, and so while you are telling this one main story, like first of all, Laboon broke my goddamn heart. You know what I mean? But that's just like a side thing.
It's a side
that
thing.
that just
really
that just happens. It's not even like the show. You know,
right?
Like
It really is. I am currently doing a YouTube, like creating a YouTube series. Like I have my notes. My notes are going crazy right now on how to condense the next like 5 seasons of One Piece, so we can be caught up to like the anime, right? And like we're taking out stuff. We're like positioning some things in front of other things instead of like having it come later. We're adding in ideas that come out in episode like 800 and putting it like in the very beginning. So it's like a lot of work, but like to create that like cohesion, it makes a lot of sense. So I think like, and not to like get fully into like a One Piece thing, because we do have to get into Star Wars stuff, like season 2 being all about like Alabasta, and then you can introduce legitimately 3 new Straw Hats within that arc. Like you can introduce the beginning of Brook with the Laboon reveal, because that's when they pass the Grand Line. You introduce Chopper within episode 3. You get Robin just in episode 1. And then you also have, and I say she's a Straw Hat as well, you get Vivi because she becomes like a main character in episode 2. That's 4 fucking Straw Hats that you get in just season 2, which is like dope shit, right? And you like, I found, you know, I just been like really working hard at that, and I feel like there's ways to do it while still keeping like a cohesive story that like still has the feelings of One Piece without like, you know, having like 1,000 episodes of it.
Yeah,
my One Piece.
I feel like you could at some point say that the anime is an extended cut.
And I love that. Like it's like a book. It's like a book, right? Like books, you have more than enough time to flesh out everything. You can literally have a whole chapter dedicated to a character's headspace and their inner monologue while they're doing something. And then like you can do a whole book that's like 2,000 pages if you want. I don't know how long books are nowadays, but the last Harry Potter book was like 900 something. So you have all this time to like flesh that out. But when you do a movie, you only got like 2.5 hours at best, and that's pushing like long ass runtime. 3 hours is when people start to go, I don't know. And then you do some shit like Killers of the Flower Moon, where you have 3.5 fucking hours. And that's when people are just kind of like, okay, unless you're a cinephile, it's like, that's going to be a hard sit down, you know? So I don't care how good your movie is. I still haven't watched The Irishman because the shit's 4 hours long, you know?
Me neither.
I'm still angry that I watched the Snyder cut, but that's a whole separate topic. Also, just to give you an idea of where I am, I just saw the history of what happened with Fishman Island and the beginning of the Arlong Pirates and all that stuff. And I was like, why does the show always have to go that deep? Like, I was not expecting
that
these are just throwaway characters. And then you're like, this is all people who were radicalized by being treated like crap. And like,
just wait.
And how that little girl like changed their hearts, but he was still like, I can't accept it. Oh my god.
You're talking about Koala.
Oh my god. No,
fucking Koala. Just wait until you get to Sanji's second backstory. Sanji has a second backstory that's like,
you're killing me when you start saying second backstory.
I don't know how they do it.
Like, hey, shout out to your hat. I just realized like you got the pirate hat on. I love that. But it's because like Sanji, like when he's introduced, he gets his like backstory of like how he got with Zeph. And then in one little episode, he has a throwaway line where he goes like, oh yeah, that's from like the North Blue. And then she goes, I didn't know you were from the North Blue. He was like, oh yeah, I was born in the East Blue, but like, no, it's like I grew up in the West Blue, but I was born in the North Blue, and that's it. Like that doesn't come back for like 300 episodes, 300 maybe 400 episodes, and then out of nowhere you realize, I'm not gonna spoil the whole thing because you're still going to it. You realize something crucial about Sanji's like upbringing that he brought up, and then they have a flashback of him just simply going, oh yeah, I was raised in the North Blue, but I grew up in the North. And then you're just like, holy shit. Like, and it kicks off like where that upbringing came from and who he really is. And you're just like, this motherfucker got a second backstory, and it's arguably more tragic than the first backstory. And you're just like, how the fuck?
My progress is more pathetic.
Where you at?
The two giants are fighting each other when I realized that Luffy was Naruto before Naruto was Naruto.
Dorian Broggy.
Yeah.
Dorian Broggy. And you know, it's funny that you say
Jordan
that.
Haber. Haven't seen you in a minute. Nice to see you. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say you know what's funny that you like bring up like the Giants Dorian Broggy is because Dorian Broggy just came back into the story in the manga literally 2 days ago.
Oh man.
They just came back in a big ass way, and you're just like, oh shit, it's Dorian Broggy. Okay. Haven't seen them in a minute.
I'm gonna have to blitz this while like killing bugs for Super Earth.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, at the very least, fucking read it. It's faster. But
is it
it's
faster?
I mean, it's faster than watching an episode. You know, like the chapters are like relatively short. I think the chapters only maybe like 12, 16 pages, some shit like that. And you just zoom through that shit. I know people who
Granted,
like read it.
there are more filler stuff on the anime side versus there are no fillers in the manga. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like somebody did the math. It's like 10% filler of the whole show, to be honest. It's like very little filler.
Yeah.
It's just that there's some things that people would like to skip over other things, like the Long Island arc. But I like the Long Island arc. It brought us Afro Luffy. And I love Afro Luffy.
Afro
Luffy is the shit.
So weird.
It was the best. You ain't a man no more. That Afro gives you some power. Power they hope they can achieve. Show them what you got, Afro Luffy.
Yeah, no, he does slap, but we do got to talk about Star Wars. You've had some interesting run-ins with the Star Wars community.
Yes. Yes, I have.
How's that been?
It's honestly going great because I feel like there's one of the few times where I shut up the Star Wars community and it felt really good because nobody really had a good reason to like fight me back on it because like I felt like I was so thorough in my analysis of this. And
well, you want to give anyone who hasn't or wasn't aware kind of a quick recap of what popped off recently.
Yeah, so basically, I'm trying to remember who. No, it was fucking Escape the podcast.
Yeah,
who I love Alex and Andrew. They're fucking awesome, even though their takes can be fucking all over the place. But they were
Hat
talking
Guy's
about
one of my peoples, though. I love him so much.
Oh, he's great. I saw Hat Guy the other day. He's like super awesome. He knows what he is. But they posted a clip of me saying that I think that The Last Jedi is better than A New Hope, which I get is a hot take, but the reason why I say that is because I feel like A New Hope, you know what I'm saying?
It's my favorite Star Wars film, so yeah.
And that's fine. New Hope is like probably my number 3. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like shade to A New Hope. It's just that like I feel like it's like a very like we award it for its impact that it's had on culture. Obviously, it's the first one, but Empire Strikes Back does Star Wars better than A New Hope, and I feel like it's a little dated for my taste, right? Like it's still top 3, but I like that Last Jedi reinvigorated Star Wars with new ideas and actually took a swing to kind of like break down what we think Star Wars is and bring their characters to a more human level, like a more grounded level. And I feel like Luke's characterization is the epitome of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like he's not just this like hero's journey like stand-in where he's like a farm boy but then like somehow saves the day blowing up the Death Star. He's like, no, he's a man who's been through some shit. He's been through 20 years of like pressure and expectation and flaws and shit, and he succumbed to like a moment of weakness, and I like the shit. But anyway, the video that I made was that defending Last Jedi's Luke's characterization, because I really do get pissed off when people say that The Last Jedi ruined Luke's character. And I'm like, no, it didn't, because the character you're referring to is a character who literally existed in the 80s, in the fucking 80s. And that's the character you're thinking about. And even that character is fucking wrong. Okay, you're saying that it ruined Luke's character because he would never, for a fucking instant, think like take his lightsaber out to like kill a kid in his sleep. Number one, he did not try to kill a kid in his sleep. Number two, he just ignited his lightsaber as a passing fucking thought. It was walking it back in that moment. It was just too late. Number fucking three, Luke Skywalker showed so much restraint for a guy whose anger made him chop off the arm of his fucking this fucking like robot father in anger. And this is the Luke Skywalker you're defending, saying he will never do that. You literally saw him.
He did that last time you saw him.
It's worse. Which is worse. And he did it because fucking Palpatine was talking shit, and he was about to swing at Palpatine. Like 5 minutes before, he was swinging at Palpatine because Palpatine was talking shit. And so when Vader shows up and starts talking shit, Luke goes off, and you're like, "Oh no, he would never do that." Shut the fuck up. Like, shut up.
We've been making the rounds for quite literally 3 and change years now, saying these exact same things. With him, losing it with Vader. My first ever video defending the Luke portrayal, I think a couple of years ago now, was Rey asks the same exact question that everyone had a problem with. She's like, "Yeah, but you saw good in him."
Yeah,
and it's like, why don't you acknowledge that the writer of the movie knew exactly what you were going to ask and made Rey ask that question, and Luke answers it then and there. But apart from that, it's like you have to realize that this isn't like Vader wasn't Luke's failure. Vader was his father, so he was like, "Oh man, I want my father back. Let's go get my father."
Exactly.
It was Obi-Wan's failure. Obi-Wan's the one's like, "I can't do this anymore." Goes off in exile. Same thing with Luke.
Listen,
Ben was his failure.
All the great Jedi masters going to exile. Apparently, Yoda did it. Obi-Wan did it. Luke did it. And there's, my Luke would never go into exile. Well, guess what? Somebody's Yoda would never go into exile either. Somebody's Obi-Wan would never go into exile either. Like, it happens. You have a crisis of faith. It's a big reason why the Jedi fucked themselves in the ass when it came to the Force, because they thought that they knew everything about the Force, when in reality, Palpatine was manipulating that shit, and that's what led to their downfall, which led Luke to being like, "Hey, that shit you just saw in the prequels, I agree with that shit. They thought they were the shit, just like how I thought I was the shit. I thought I was the last Jedi, the great Luke Skywalker, and I drank the Kool-Aid a little too much, and I ignited my lightsaber." Because, like that's just what happened. The same way Obi-Wan raised his lightsaber at Anakin Skywalker, he was like, "Hey, maybe I should like snuff this guy out before he gets to become too of a problem." And nobody thinks about this. He was fucking right. He was fucking right.
So, okay, literally the name on my stream, because we're both streaming this at the same time, is Mace Windu was right, because Mace Windu gets so much crap, but everything he says is absolutely true. And he's like, "Yeah, I don't trust him." Next scene, he's killing a bunch of children and all the Jedi. He was right to not trust him. But like, the thing that kills me is there are so many people on the app that were like, "Well, the Jedi failed because of this, this, and that." And you're like, yes, that is the point. They got high on their own supply. They were like, "Listen, Dooku could never. He's not capable of killing people. Dooku was killing people." Everything they said ended up being wrong because they believed that because of their history meant something now. But no, you have to do the thing now. Luke, same exact thing. He was like, "I'm the legendary Luke Skywalker. I brought my father back. I did all of this stuff, and so I believed that I was the one that could bring him back." But that's just not true. And like, I recently made a video about this, because like the concept that being able to bring back Vader means that you can bring back Ben because it would be easier.
Yeah.
Is idiotic. You know what I mean?
It's so dumb.
It's like meeting a girl who's like a 9.5 out of 10, but you connect because you have like the same band or something like that, and you get her number. And now you think every girl that's that
You
attractive
can bag
or less,
every girl.
I get them. I get their numbers for free now, right? That's how it works. So you're like,
I got a tip for these sevens is gonna line up.
No, it's your actual connection. That's what means something. Like,
Yeah.
The
you're taking
analogs,
crazy pills.
the analogs have always been there. You know, if you think about the baggage between Obi-Wan and Anakin, of course he's not going to be able to reach him. Luke shows up. He's got the innocence of a farm boy and the innocence of a son that wants to know more about his father, wants to get in touch with his father.
Right.
It's the same thing with the sequel trilogy. Luke is the one with the baggage with Ben, and Rey is the one who is the innocence that comes in. It's like, oh, I can reach him. Yeah, I see the light in him.
Right.
You know, so it's really like Star Wars. It's poetry.
And let's not forget
And the best part.
I was gonna say, let's
just
not forget that Ben was sent to Luke because that motherfucker was doing bad kid shit.
Yeah.
He was doing bad kid shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
But the best part is that the movie realizes this at the very beginning. He's like, "What do you think we're gonna face down the First Order with my laser sword?" And then he does that exact thing because the legend of Luke Skywalker is fake. It is not the person. The legend is not every single legendary person. If you meet Michael Jordan in real life, he might be a dick to you. I'm sorry, but but the legend is important still.
Right.
Even if the legend's not the real person, the legend is still super important. And him coming back at the end and doing exactly what he said he wouldn't, he re-becomes the legendary Luke Skywalker to ignite that fight in the rest of the galaxy, because at the end of the day he realizes how important these legends truly are. And I think that's such a beautiful message, and I think that encapsulates the point of Star Wars. The sequel trilogy is a meta commentary on the effect of Star Wars in our real life.
Yeah, like how Leia was like, no one answered. We sent out our messages, no one answered. Luke shows up, faces down the First Order, reignites that spark. Everyone shows up in The Rise of Skywalker. Even though that's one of my least favorite Star Wars movies.
I hate that movie so much. But
it is like a continuation of his lesson and like the impact of his legend. When people were like, oh, they completely retconned Luke, like he learned a lesson.
Yeah.
At the end
it's not retroactive continuity. It's regular continuity. That's how stories work.
I feel like the meta commentary of like the story of Luke Skywalker is like fake. Like, you know, like you guys in real time are buying into this Luke Skywalker legend to where the point you're saying shit that's not true. That like he's just this pure good guy who like sees the good in everyone. To the point where you even got the voice of fucking Darth Maul saying it, right? And then like they use that against like Kylo Ren in the First Order by literally making a hologram of this great version of Luke, where even the grays in his hair is fucking gone. You know what I'm saying? Like Rian Johnson knows what the fuck he's doing with that. Where it's like, this is the perfect Jedi version of Luke that you don't even notice is fake while it's happening, because this is the Luke that you want to see. You are just like Kylo Ren in this situation. And so when you realize that he's like a hologram or a forceogram or however you want to call it, it's like, let your version of Luke die in order to like make way for like this new generation of Star Wars. And that's what happens. Luke Skywalker dies exactly the way he is. Old, still very powerful, a very powerful story, very powerful character, but it's Rey's time now. It's supposed to be Finn's time now, but whatever. You know, it's this is the new order of it. And so I like that. And I feel like that's what reinvigorated Star Wars to me. But no, people are upset because Luke was drinking green milk, even though the first time we saw him, he was drinking blue milk. So,
and
you know,
here's one of the issues of being a lore master too, is that when you read the book from a certain point of view, and you realize that the Wampas are like a family, you're like, why didn't Luke see the good in that Wampa?
Oh my gosh.
Just straight up chopped off. But there's a story of the Wampa and its family trying to, you know, survive the colds. And you're just like, holy crap.
Damn.
I feel sorry for the Wampas now.
Some Jedi seeing the good in everybody.
But, and also, I mean, just like you said, the mythical version of Luke Skywalker, at least as Star Wars canon is concerned, never existed. You know what I mean? We got the 3 movies, and at the very end of the movie, he's like, "I'm a Jedi like my father." That's it. That's what we're basing this all off of. You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell me what that person would not have done, because they were a different person in the previous movie. All of their character development happened in between the films.
Right.
Also, it's been 30 years. I'm very different than I was at
Everybody
23
is.
years old. So
Everybody is. Like, and the thing that always gets me as well is like, your favorite boy, fucking Darth goddamn Vader, aka Anakin Skywalker, also went down that fucking path. Like you saw him be a great warrior in the Clone Wars, and I know this is no shade to you two guys, but everybody's always like, you gotta watch the Clone Wars. It's the greatest fucking shits that you ever saw. Da, 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 da. And it's because it's so much.
That's
like,
not something I'll say.
But that's what I keep hearing, right? Every time I mention that I don't watch Clone Wars, they're like, oh, you're not a real fan. Da, da, da. And like, you know, everyone always hypes up like Ahsoka and Anakin Skywalker and how much he was a hero, which makes like his fall from grace that much more like tragic. But it's like, you could give that to fucking his dad, but you can't give it to fucking Luke. And that's not, you wouldn't even call that like a fall from grace. Like, he literally just had a moment, like a moment of weakness. You wouldn't even allow your hero to have a moment of weakness. That's a weird ass behavior.
Yeah.
Also, just to add as a cherry on top, so in that moment with you know, Luke and Ben, Ben was 23 years old, right? He was not a kid. He was not a child. I don't know why people say he was, but he was the same age that Anakin was when Anakin had a bad dream and burned the galaxy to the ground.
I mean,
are you considering watching Clone Wars?
You know,
just for
what?
added context and everything.
You know, every now and then, I'll say like every like 3 months, I get like a passing thought. Maybe I should get into Clone Wars. Maybe I should.
Not
like,
for the fact that it's the best thing ever. Like, I just encourage people, like, if you want to know more about certain things, you know, I think you watched Book of Boba Fett?
I did.
And you liked Cad Bane?
He's my favorite Star Wars character now. I love Cad Bane.
So for that reason alone, I would probably say to watch some Clone Wars because of more Cad Bane.
I've been told that, and I still haven't picked it up. But I want to see it for Ahsoka and Cad Bane for the most part. And then, you know, I watch a lot of like YouTube clips on certain things that I don't watch, and like I also saw like some Star Wars Rebels. I saw Ahsoka fighting Darth Vader, and having not seen the Clone Wars, I still understand like the weight of that like interaction. So like, I'm not saying I don't need to, but I am like,
that's
maybe
our favorite show.
Oh yeah, like I hear Rebels is like absolutely fantastic, but for me, like I'm realizing this about myself is that it's binge media is like harder and harder for me at this stage of my life to like get into, because unless I'm like gonna sit there and like do it in one sitting when it first comes out, it's really difficult because I have a lot of shit to do and I got a lot of other shit to watch. And so like if I'm sitting there watching like one thing, I feel like I'm missing out on not just my life, but I'm missing out on other things that I could be watching, you know?
Absolutely. Take it with your own pace, you know? We have a question from Young, or just a comment saying, I can't wait to see your canon event of falling in love with the clones. A lot of people have fallen in love with the clones.
Like the individual clones, the one that all look like Cody.
Yeah, well, they all look like Jango
Morrison.
Jango Fett, yeah.
They all look like Aquaman's dad.
Yeah.
We have a question from the TikTok side. I'm gonna address it really quickly, but if you wanna go in on it, you can too. Do we not think that Luke, considering striking down Ben, was a misstep? And it's not a misstep, it's character progression. Because when Vader threatens Leia, Luke goes ham and strikes him down. When he senses the loss of everything he loves inside of Ben's mind, he ignites a little bit, and like for a moment he's like, that was wrong, and turns it off. The fact that Ben saw that was just a consequence of his mistake. It's not that he was like doing something that was out of character. It was progression for him. And go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, is it me or Choco? Because I got shit to say. But
Well, I'll just do
go
a
ahead.
super quick hit of in that scene. You see the camera looking at his hand, and then it focuses to Ben. If you're looking at like why he would never try to kill, but he didn't.
He
was
did it.
never focused on Ben. Right, that's the whole thing. Is he was thinking about the death and destruction of everything and everyone he loves, and it's just the trolley problem. All it is the trolley problem. And if you don't think you would ever stop and think about what choice to make, I think that's dumb to not consider. Okay, if I do nothing, everyone could die. If I do something,
It's
one
the
person.
yeah.
But go ahead.
It's a would you kill Hitler as a baby like dilemma, right? It's a would if you were in that moment and you're looking at baby Hitler in his crib and you're thinking to yourself, I can stop the genocide, I can stop the Holocaust with this one just a little snap, you know, I could do it right here. You know, like he had that moment. Like I wouldn't call it a misstep because it's exactly what it's supposed to be, right? A guy who has the entire survival of the Jedi Order on his back, who has all this expectation thrusted upon him as the hero that he should be. And this is a man who saw some shit. He saw what the Empire could do. He saw them blow up goddamn planets. He saw his father instill fear into the entire galaxy. He looked into the eyes of the Emperor in his face. Like he's seen some shit.
He saw himself turning to that path as well and had to fight that.
Exactly. And even before that, he knows the stories of the fall of the Jedi Order. Like I'm sure in his studies of like the Old Republic, he knows what happened to the Old Republic. So in this moment, as the keeper, as the like harbinger of like the Jedi Order, the last one remaining who's in charge of like bringing that back, he had one intrusive thought. Just one. Like, it wasn't like, I gotta kill this fucking kid. It was like, could I do it with it? Like, could I do it? Like, is this something that, like, I'm willing to do in order to, like, you know, do it? And it was, again, the fleetingest of thoughts. Yeah. The most fleetingest of thoughts. He said it. And then he said, I looked into that boy's eyes and I knew that, like, the damage had been done. But you also got to put that shit on Ben because Ben, he was like, okay, you're trying to kill me, so now I'm going to kill you. And it was like, bro, he didn't even swing the shit. Like, he didn't even swing the shit. Like, he was just looking at you. He wasn't even looking at you, you know?
And that is the beauty of, well, it's a massive trolley problem, but also that's the beauty of the Rashomon style storytelling. It's like, you look at Luke's point of view, and it was a fleeting like reflex. You look at Ben's point of view, and it looked like he was gonna swing hard and cut him in half, and like Luke looked like a Sith,
like a crazy madman.
Like,
yeah.
And so that's the consequence of a child, or not a child. It's the consequence of Ben seeing what he's seeing with the mix of the darkness that is twisting his mind. He sees the killer. All Luke sees is someone who's troubled, who has this essentially the Hosnian cataclysm.
Yeah.
In his mind. Because if you listen to the audio in The Last Jedi when he senses Ben's mind, that is the same audio of the people dying in Force Awakens. Mm-hmm. And so he sees all that and he's like, maybe.
Can I say this? Like, I feel like this is very important because a lot of people were like, oh, like Luke would never think of killing a child in his sleep. I'm like, guys, that was fucking Adam Driver. That was a grown ass man. Like he didn't even look like he was like 18, 17. He looked like a straight 20-something-year-old. Like that wasn't no goddamn child. He looked way older than Luke when he started his journey. So don't give me that like, oh, he was gonna kill a child. No, and now if it was that youngling from that looked at Luke Skywalker, what are we going to do? Then maybe we'll have an argument. I will still argue that, like, you know, baby Hitler, hey, but like, it wasn't like it was like a little like 5-year-old youngling. No, this was fucking Adam Driver, Ben Solo, already got sent to Luke because he was already kind of like a dark ass emo kid. You know what I'm saying? So like,
It wasn't just a
Luke,
phase, Mom.
it wasn't just a phase, and it wasn't just a phase. He rode that shit till the wheels fell off. But yeah, so like when people say like, oh yeah, it was a misstep to do it, where's the misstep? Like there's so much context, there's so much history, there's so much precedent for why Luke thought the way he thought in that fleetingest of moments. It's basically spoon fed to you. But yeah, I feel like people choose not to see it because you have some version of Luke in your head, similar to the people in the movie who think they know who Luke Skywalker is, but they don't. They don't.
Yeah.
And a good friend of ours, Maria, is watching through Legend of Korra right now. And
I said I use this all the time. I say this all the time with Aang and how he treats his kids. I say this shit. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead,
I mean, you already know exactly where I'm going because people got mad. They're like, "What? They made Aang a bad father." Like, Aang never had a dad. First of all, how is he supposed to know? And second of all, he saved the world. Doesn't mean you're going to be a good dad. Nothing he does indicates that. And also, when you look at how he treated his kids, it all makes perfect sense with the character that we were given. It may not be what you wanted to see,
right?
But it's what makes sense. If you were born an airbender and that's all you know, you're gonna want to pass on the airbending history.
You have
if only one of your kids is an airbender, that kid's gonna have hella pressure and all this stuff. And yeah.
And we saw that go into Tenzin. Why Tenzin is such like a hard ass like stick in the mud, because he's like, I'm the last Jedi, like not Jedi, I'm the last, but you know, parallels. I'm the last airbending master.
Listen, airbenders are Jedi. That's
They're
just
Jedi.
it.
They're wearing the same clothes anyway. You know, and he's like, I'm the last fucking airbending master until like Jinora like gets her fucking like tattoos and everything. So now there's two. What you fucking do? But like he luckily he had like 3-4 kids who were airbenders. Yeah. You know, so like you saw that like that generational like pressure to like bring back the Jedi Order, and then we see Tenzin start to loosen up a little bit more once the harmonic convergence happens and there's more airbenders in the world. So like once that's restored, then you see him actually start to loosen up a little bit. So I'm just saying, like, what's up?
I just had the thought, intrusive thought. The reason he was so stressed is he's like, are my kids gonna have to marry each other?
Oh my God. Honestly, it probably got into his mind at some point, like, yo, we need to keep this shit pure. We need to keep it going. Like, they can't marry no fucking earthbenders. No. But yeah, man, like, people forget about that. And like, it's not a new thing in storytelling. Like, it's really not. That's why like Legend of Korra like is so good, because like Aang, who we've seen as a child this whole time, a lot of these characters, when you see them become adults, they're not always the best adults, right? And like it always baffles me when people get upset, like, oh, this isn't the character that I knew. Yeah, the character that you knew was fucking 12. Like, he's 40 now. Like, he's seen some things. Like, he's got experience.
I'm just gonna say it. When my balls dropped, I saw the world very differently. You know.
So, Blank Maj in the chat also says it's a trolley problem if you also point a gun at your family member while pondering. And I have to nip this in the bud.
Oh my God! See, they're just saying the same thing.
But I really do have to nip this in the bud.
But they make up
it
stuff.
Is, no, but he is he is correct. It is pointing a gun at your family while that family holds the detonator that's going to explode a building full of the rest of your family and more civilians. So you have to consider the force for Luke here is him seeing into what could happen and him considering for the briefest of moments that he could prevent it. If you put this in the context of you pointing a gun at your family member that you're pointing at in some way has to be threatening a large number of people as well. Look. And would you? Yes, I would. If they were about to blow up a building full of people, I would consider pointing my gun at them.
Yes.
And we have to consider also the power of hindsight.
And if you're a Jedi, yes, you actually absolutely have to do it. If you are a Jedi, the Jedi answer would be to do it.
I see so many.
That's the point.
things
literally the
where
point.
family members are pitted against other family members when another family member is fucking like going off the rails. And Star Wars is the king of that shit, okay? Anakin Skywalker choked out his own damn wife.
While
Okay?
pregnant.
While pregnant. Darth Vader almost murdered his own goddamn son. Was gonna murder his own goddamn son. Luke Skywalker chopped off his daddy's hand. And then when Luke Skywalker with this information was like, yo, my family's fucked up. And this kid is basically the fucking Michael Myers of this family right now. And I think I'm gonna have to old family tradition, snuff them out. Like there's a whole show on HBO called House of the Dragon where the family is just going nuts on each other. Like, come on, Legend of Korra, the fucking waterbending brothers, like they're going at each other. Like I can go down the list of family members going out. So miss me with that, like, oh, would you point a gun at your family member? That happens in the hood all the fucking time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look out of here.
And Tatooine, as we know, is the space hood.
The point isn't that's the problem. The point isn't him igniting the saber or you pointing the gun at your family. The point is why.
Why? Thank you. Thank you.
And if we have the power of hindsight, Kylo Ren went on to kill and murder millions of people.
He was right.
He killed the entire Hosnian system. He went on to destroy planets and light them on fire. If you've read the Star Wars Adventures comics, where he lands on a planet and the people are like, we're not gonna pledge our allegiance. Okay, walks away, and the planet is on fire in the background. He has literally killed millions, even trillions of people. So if we're being real with this,
also he could be cool, by the way. Also he could be like his granddad.
Yeah.
even though everyone knows his granddad like turned into the good guy, he said no, fuck that. He was cooler when he was bad. I want to be him.
So he had someone in his head telling him the whole time, yeah, man, your grandpa, he was such a badass. Like, you should do what he did. The only weakness he ever showed was at the end, but like you can do it without that. Like, he had someone in his ear feeding him all of this stuff. And it all makes sense if you interact with the story being told. If you cross your arms and ignore all the context and information and facts, then you're gonna end up wherever the hell you want.
He killed his daddy for the cool. I mean, Han Solo killed his daddy. Ben Solo killed his daddy for the cool points. I'm gonna just leave it at that. You're over here saying like, oh, he pointed a gun at him and like didn't swing. No, that motherfucker swung, just so he could be cool.
And if we're being real about this, Luke could have prevented all of that. He could have.
He could have.
But the question is, does Luke fall to the dark side? That's like this is the nuance of why decisions matter, why they're being made. And KG asks on YouTube chat, was the Hosnian system his call? Yes. If you watch Resistance, he in fact is the one that tells Hux to pull the trigger.
He doesn't do shit to stop it either. He's just casually watching. I'm sure he had some popcorn when the fucking thing went off.
Well, he was on Starkiller Base, or
he was on
he fighting. He was on.
Was he?
Takodana.
No.
He was on Takodana.
Yeah.
He wasn't gonna stop it though. He wasn't gonna stop it.
No, the plans were already there. Like he tells Hux to do it, and then he leaves.
And it's like, and I'm gonna go get this girl.
I'm gonna go get this girl real quick, take her out. I feel like the lengths that people are going to excuse the clearly evil Ben Solo at the time, or at least like clearly troubled Ben Solo, is like ridiculous. Just to say that Luke's character was bad. And the thing that they're saying is so bad is that he ignited his lightsaber very fleetingly. And they're just like, oh, this is, oh my God. Dude. My Luke would never. He chopped his daddy's hand off. End of story.
Does the galaxy at large know that Vader was redeemed? No.
But you best believe that family story was passed down.
That's why Leia was ostracized in the Senate when they revealed that was her father.
You mean to tell me they wasn't talking about that at dinner when they were drinking blue milk? You know what I'm saying? That wasn't discussed.
Well, you know what? Actually, I actually think that's part of the problem. So when you jump into the books and specifically how Leia got her groove back. The name of the book now is escaping me, but
Bloodline.
Yeah, Bloodline. So that information gets revealed to the Senate while she's running to be like the lead of them because Mon Mothma is sick. And so she gets ostracized and basically has to stop being a senator. That's why she started the whole resistance, because she saw the threat, and the people actively working against her were funding that threat. So it was a whole. Honestly, if you read that book now, it hits way different.
Wow.
They were literally saying, we're trying to make the galaxy great again.
Is Romney Casturfo?
Literally.
Oh my god.
Is Romney Casturfo?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, but keep politics out of Star Wars, right?
No, but one of the things that makes her sad is she's like, I haven't even told this to Ben. So the conversation about Vader being his grandfather and turning to the light, the first person that would have had that with him had to have either been Luke or Snoke speaking in his ear the whole time, telling him, all this stuff.
Yeah, but I don't think Ben died not knowing what happened.
Oh yeah, no, he knew.
You know what I'm saying? Like he knew. Like that motherfucker knew. I mean, he even says that he's fighting to not be in the light. Who fucking does that? Number one, who the fuck says like I want to be in the dark side so bad?
Emo kids.
Some people. You'll be surprised at how many.
But the thing that I think Rise of Skywalker actually did really well and got really right is that once Kylo Ren becomes Ben again, he's exactly like Han Solo.
I like that. It sucks that we only get like one good character moment where like he pulls out the lightsaber and gives the shrug.
The shrug.
And his
But he just
line
feels
is,
like he feels floppy, and he like shoots him without looking and does all the same stuff. So you have this kid who's been being told like, no, you got to be like your grandpa, this guy over here. No, you need to be like your Uncle Luke, upstanding. No, your mom is a princess. You need to be like her. And he's exactly like his dad.
He's like,
God damn it, I can't get anything right. And he wants to kill that part of him. And he does it by killing his dad. And I loved how they made that come full circle. So again, while it's my least favorite movie, the other thing I want people to do is, even if you don't like the movie,
there's good to be had.
Interact with the stuff that happens in it.
Yeah.
Don't dig your head in the sand.
That's what I try to tell people all the fucking time. That's what I try to tell people.
Yeah.
Tell you, man. But fuck it. Just
I also have
it.
to point out, like, to a lot of people too, like the people that are like really, really butthurt over how the lightsaber fights go in the sequels. When you have to notice when Kylo is unstable and swinging it like a greatsword versus when he turns back to Ben and he has the Skywalker saber again and he's swinging it like Anakin, like he's doing flourishes and he's spinning and he's light on his feet. That was intentional.
It's always intentional.
And
it's always the reason behind these actions.
Also, I gotta ask Juju. I know you're a busy dude. How are you doing on time?
I'm doing fine. I am doing 100% fine. So whatever time we got, I can keep going.
We have 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine with me.
So, all right, let's approach this last 10 minutes with a super hot take for anything in Star Wars, and of course, let's get your ranking of just the Skywalker movies, like 1 to 9. We don't have to worry about like the Solo or Rogue One.
We finna get you canceled.
I feel like my hottest take is like the Last Jedi take. To be honest, I really do feel like Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie, like outside of Empire, and like I like Rogue One as well. Rogue One is my favorite one, but I still put Last Jedi as like number 2 on my like Star Wars ranking. Nice. That's literally like my hottest take. I think everything else would be like kind of like lukewarm after that one. I pissed a lot of people off with that Last Jedi one. So, and then as far as rankings, dang, I haven't done a Star Wars ranking in a minute, but I'm gonna go from top to bottom. I'm gonna say Empire Strikes Back, Last Jedi, A New Hope. I'm gonna also say Force Awakens because I like that they brought Star Wars back. It felt the most like Star Wars. Yes, it's a derivative, sure, but when you look at it like a poem, I like that. After Force Awakens, I'm gonna say Return of the. I'm gonna say Revenge of the Sith. I'm gonna say Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, then Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace, and then the bottom one is fucking Rise of Skywalker. That's all. That's all nine, right?
It's a pretty close list.
That's fair.
Right? Yeah. Okay. I like eyeballed that one too. I don't have it written down anywhere, so don't ask me to say it again.
all right. My quick hot take is, and I haven't made a video on this or anything yet, but my quick hot take is there's complaints about like women are taking over Star Wars and all this stuff. Star Wars has never been an overtly masculine franchise. As a franchise, as a whole, it's actually felt largely feminine coded. I mean, you beat the baddest guy in the galaxy, not with your power, but with love. And, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel that. Plus, like, Leia is, like, a big driving force for that first trilogy as well. You know, she's the one who, like, sends for Ben. She's the one who, like, once she's, like rescued, she's driving the rescue missions. She's like heading the fucking like Death Star.
You just described the next video I'm gonna make. I'm gonna make a clickbaity Star Wars is woke video, but I'm only gonna talk about Leia and use clips from the original trilogy.
And then we go to the prequels. You know, if you listen to everything Padme says, she's absolutely correct about everything.
I think everything would have been fine if everyone listened to Padme.
Yeah.
In that.
But even in there, I feel Anakin largely feminine coded, very emotional, very.
I don't like sand.
Yeah.
That sounds. Yeah, that does.
I don't like sand. Rough and coarse.
It gets everywhere.
It's everywhere.
The Facts Guy asked, "What's Juju looking forward to most in Star Wars?"
I think right now it's the Acolyte. Like I've heard a description of that, and I thought it sounded like a really fucking cool concept, and so I was like, okay, I fucks with that. So I'll probably say the Acolyte. I haven't really been up on the Star Wars series. I still haven't seen Ahsoka. I haven't watched Andor, even though I hear that's the best thing Star Wars has done in a long, long time.
It's so goddamn good.
Listen, if Rogue One's your top.
Rogue One is my shit, and it's like I just haven't had time to like sit down. And I saw the first episode of Andor, fucking loved it, but I haven't like finished it because I went to the Andor premiere. But
not only that, but you loved the show Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Oh yes,
and it really feels like the personal level of it. That story is all throughout Andor.
Okay, cool. Yeah, yes, I will. KG watch Andor. See, this is the reaction I get all the time. They're just like, what? Watch it now. And I know that's not like how you're saying it. It's just like how my mind has been conditioned and whipped and beaten into thinking. So,
and you know, that's something that's another message we've been largely trying to convey throughout these years with Dyad and the Force and our videos. It's at the end of the day, watch Star Wars how you're going to watch it, at your own pace, and it doesn't matter how much you know about Star Wars. You're a Star Wars fan, and today Juju is a Star Wars fan. He has put his opinions out there, and he has just done Star Wars, and I feel like this is the start of a new era where perhaps we'll get more Star Wars videos from the Straw Hat Goof.
I realized that I haven't made a Star Wars video since I remember this. I haven't made a Star Wars video since the Cad Bane Boba Fett video. When like I made that video, and then people were like, "You haven't watched Clone Wars? You're not a real fan. You're a fake fan. Like, why are you watching this anyway?" And the last video that I made was me saying, I literally was talking about how much I like the Star Wars character, and this is how you do me. Never mind.
But that's when I did. That's when I did the Juju Fett edit with Cad Bane.
Yep.
Star Wars is for everyone.
That was really good, by the way. That was a really good campaign.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Love,
I have a better Keanu Reeves.
Go for it. Go for it. I need to hear it.
Listen, if you're gonna have a movie guy give you opinions on movies, I feel like it has to be Strawhatgoofy.
Wow.
Because he knows kung fu.
It was the hat for me. Like it was the hat goofy. It's a random like twang in there.
The Strawhatgoofy. I
I
also
saw
have
it at the Awards, and I was like, yep, that's pretty close.
I gotta float the history of straw hats. I think the expert on that subject would have to be Goofy.
Oh gosh.
And once you're done watching Goofy talk about straw hats, we're gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute, not the Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I have some pretty weird. I have some pretty weird impressions for an Asian dude. It's like you meet somebody and they you're Asian and you're like, oh,
I smell profit.
Nedrex super chatted a $1.30 ramen drop. We haven't introduced the super chat, have we?
We haven't.
wow.
Thank you, Nedrex, for the $2 ramen drop. Yes, that's our super shot. The droid you see on the stage is our SH4T droid that was incepted by our first super chat, and the voice was like super chatted, like
Super chatted. He's super chat like into the chat.
Yeah, it's like you ate a quesarito burrito at Taco Bell. That's what super chat.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't had Taco Bell in a minute. That's why I haven't had Taco Bell in a minute. Can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, you have your Kylo Ren moment of like, I know what I need to do, but I don't know if I'm strong enough to do it.
I can take whatever I want.
You're still holding on. Let go.
Yeah, no, I said that in the toilet too.
Death would kill you. No, this is something
Star Wars. That's a Star Wars. That's a fucking TikTok right there. Star Wars quotes you say on the toilet. You're still holding on. Let go.
Somebody's at the counter at Taco Bell and Kylo Ren comes up. You're not doing this. The effort would kill you.
Oh god, this is so fucking off the rails.
Anyways, we have about a minute left. Juju, do you have any final thoughts or any final takes you want to say about Star Wars? Get it off your chest while you're surrounded by people who enjoy civil discourse.
I see what you did there. The Rey movies are going to be the best movies in Star Wars history, and there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing.
Wow.
Batten down the hatches, okay? Because everything you loved about Rey is going to come to you in 3-hour increments. 2 separate movies. Mark my words. Is she getting a trilogy? Do we know this?
It's not confirmed to be a
No,
trilogy.
hasn't been said.
1 movie, but it will be 3 hours. And it's gonna be great. I really do think so, though. I really do think they're gonna
yeah.
Hey, the partition episode of Miss Marvel like had me, and if that's who we're getting to tell this story, I'm in.
I'm with it.
in.
I'm fucking with it. Fuck yeah.
All right.
But yeah.
Choco, any final thoughts?
I think Hugh Jackman should be killed off as Wolverine and replaced with our X-23 that we got in Logan.
Oh,
Dang, I didn't know you were going to go with that.
I mean, yeah. I don't know if my heart can take another like killing of Logan. I don't know if I
Listen,
can
let that man rest. He has been in peak condition since 2001.
Yeah.
Let him have a cheeseburger and hang out with his wife, please.
He got a good 5 years. He's got a good 5 years of rest, you know.
We're gonna want more than 5 years of stories, though. You know.
Yeah, that's true. If
No,
he
I
signs
5
on,
years, that's 2 movies max.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I really do hope he gets like a good send off though. This has to be it. It has to be.
Yeah.
You know.
if it's
Like,
not
and
his
they bring-
send off, He's going to be about 5 years.
Oh gosh, just bring Daniel Radcliffe as Wolverine. Have you guys seen Daniel Radcliffe lately?
Yeah. Listen, I can't get past the voice. I really can't. I don't know.
An American accent.
He can, but I always revert to the timbre of his voice where he's like, "I'm Harry Potter." Like, I'm Logan. Fear me. I'm from Canada. Like, that's all I hear. It's like, listen, bub, I'm good at what I do.
I'm good at what I do.
I'm the best there is.
Nice. Well, the best
It's kind of like when it's kind of like when
it.
Kumail Nanjiani talks now and he's all buff and chiseled, but
That's
he's,
the thing.
he's still just Pindar.
He still has that voice.
Listen, I have all the confidence in Daniel Radcliffe getting ripped and jacked for Wolverine, but it's like, Cyclops, stop telling me what to do. Like, that's all I hear.
Have you seen any of Daniel Radcliffe's American accents?
What movie?
We
does
watched
he do
Guns
in?
Akimbo, right?
Guns Akimbo is a good one. Guns
Oh, yeah,
Akimbo.
I have to watch that then.
Guns Akimbo. Watch.
Does his voice change with the accent?
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
Watch The Lost City. Watch that, and then also watch Swiss Army Man if you really want to get weird with it. Like, he was in everything. The same directors of Everything Everywhere All at Once. So that tells you how weird it's going to get.
Oh, okay.
He plays a dead corpse with a dick that works as a compass. That's all I'm gonna say. And then he was also in a rom-com. That I can't remember, with Adam Driver, of all people. Like,
Hey,
Aaron
okay.
Radcliffe and Adam Driver in a rom-com. It's like so great.
All right.
So yeah, check those out if you want some American Dan.
Well, now that you've broached the subject, outside of Wolverine, Daniel Radcliffe, give us, as the movie guy, give us 3 movies we should check out, including Madam Web. I'm just kidding. 3 movies that you want this audience to check out that they probably haven't seen.
Yeah. So one movie I'm like really high on right now is nominated for Best International Film. It's called Society of the Snow. I think it's the best movie that's out this year so far. It came out like early January, and it's about the soccer team from I want to say Chile that crash landed in the Andes Mountains, and they were there for 72 days. And it's technically amazing. The story is great, and it's not one of those like survivalist stories where it's just like, oh, they might eat each other, like the tensions are rising. It's like, no, it's literally a human story about like what man will do to survive and what they would do to like keep each other alive. It's very beautiful, very heartbreaking, very intense, and the looks and sound of it is absolutely like top notch. Another movie that I always will say to watch, and I will scream this from the rooftops, Sing Street. Sing Street is a tricky one to find. It pops on Netflix for like only a week for some reason every now and then. But if you can rent it, please fucking rent it. I guarantee everyone that I told to watch this movie always loves it. It's no bad things to say about it. It's about a boy in Scotland who goes to this Catholic school, sees a pretty girl across the street, and basically, like in a fit of panic to impress her, he starts a band. And so, but the twist is, once he starts the band, you literally see him fall in love with music. And so the girl becomes like his muse, and you see the evolution of his band. And they don't get like famous or anything like that. They're still very much kids in school, but the music progressively gets better as the movie goes on. And it's all because he saw a girl on the other side of the street one day and wanted to impress her, and then ends up finding music as his true love. It's fucking incredible. There's a song called Drive It Like You Stole It that should not have just got nominated for Best Original Song at the Oscars. It should have fucking won Best Original Song at the Oscars. But the goddamn Weinstein fucking company, did not want to push for the movie, so not many people know about it. So please rent Sing Street. I guarantee you it's a fucking great watch. And then another movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's in my list of 4 perfect movies that includes Her, Shawshank Redemption, E.T., and this little movie. Shawshank is literally a perfect movie. This particular movie, though, is perfect. It's an anime, and it's called Your Name. Shrek 2. Close but no cigar on the Shrek 2. Very fucking close though.
No,
But,
your
yeah.
name. We're big
Your
anime
Name.
fans here, and
Yeah.
that
If you guys have seen Your Name, congratulations. You have watched one of the best movies of all time. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a fucking favor. Ashamed to say, every time like I bring a date back to my house, we're watching Your Name, and I'm happy to say that 100% success rate. And not like that way, but like they love the movie. They
Okay.
love the.
You can't say I bring a woman to my place and have a 100% success rate. And
It's the movie that gets me laid the most. No. Like
40% of the time, it works. Every time.
Every time. No, but like my thing is like I'm taking you back to my place. We're going to watch this fucking movie, and my success rate is whether or not you fall in love with the movie or not. And every single one falls in love with the movie, and that makes me very, very happy.
Question: is it a barometer movie? Like, if they're like, "I didn't like it," you're like, "Well, I had fun. Good night."
You know what?
Doors
You know
over there.
what? The beautiful thing is that I will never know because they always fucking like it. So like,
Exactly.
if I get the one that doesn't, maybe I'll get hit with that. Oh my gosh, is this gonna work? Like, is this gonna work out? You know,
Captain America Dad in my chat said Horns was Daniel Radcliffe's first
Horns.
American accent.
Horns. Yep. Watch
Okay.
Horns.
Guns Akimbo, Horns, F word, and
F- Oh, Swiss Army Man.
okay.
Swiss Army Man. But then also Sing Street, Society of the Snow, and Your Name.
Your name.
Yes, please
Beautiful.
watch Your Name. I guarantee it's that movie. I saw it, and a week later, I went out and bought a piano so I can learn the songs. Like I shit you
man.
not. Yeah, it's serious.
It is a great one. It will
I
certainly.
don't know how to play piano either. I don't know how to play piano. I was like, I'm gonna learn how to play piano. I'm gonna buy this shit and learn so I can play it. And now I know how.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Like I don't know how to play the piano too, but I know how to play "Tis an Anarchin" from FF10. And I want to learn more songs
By the
too,
way.
but not learn the piano.
By the way,
I learned how to play guitar because on a skate video, I heard "Over the Hills and Far Away" by Led Zeppelin, and I was like, I have to know. And that was like the first song I learned how to play on guitar.
that's pretty hard though. I need to learn to play guitar.
Oh.
That's why I need to get on.
All right, so it looks like we're 10 minutes over, but that's okay. The conversation is great. We love going overtime with our guests who just bring amazing conversations to our show. But I want to thank Juju or Strawhatgoofy of the Straw Hat Pirates for coming on the show. Choco, do you have anything to say to our audience before we wrap things up?
Yeah, everyone who joined us on either TikTok side or the YouTube side, we appreciate you. We love you. Can't wait to hang out more with the community because it's the best. Our little corner of the Star Wars community is the absolute best. It's not even close. So,
I agree. I like this corner very much. I don't want to leave. You guys are gonna throw me out to the wolves after.
Nah, man, you're here now.
Also,
Yeah,
it's great to see you have your own like space and you're not in the corner anymore. That's cool.
Last time we did this, I was in a fucking corner. Like
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah, this is the whole room. I have space for activity and art.
You can be animated.
I can be animated. Exactly.
All right. Well, that's it. On to the next one.
For Light and for Life.
We are all the Dyad.
And may the Force be with you always.
Catchphrase.